Hi there, this is Frank Klesitz with Viral Marketing. If you're watching this video, you're interested in our recruiting project, where if you're a real estate professional, whether it's a brokerage or a team, and you need more agents that are a good fit, you can attract them to you as opposed to having to chase them with good marketing. So they can either, if you do it well, it can replace the need for like a direct recruiter, or at least for them to prospect all the time. Or if you have a recruiter, great, it's going to complement them and make their life a lot easier by calling people that know, like, and trust you already because they're consuming your content online. And I know some of you who are watching this may have known here at Viral Marketing that we help you run like a recruiting blog. I don't like to call it that. It's more of like an agent training blog, newsletter, videos. But what I found was just kind of getting our clients to publish some educational training videos up to their database or agent list wasn't actually recruiting agents. It was just one piece of a larger funnel of how to do it correctly. So I wanted to create this course, which is kind of the culmination of all my knowledge as far as marketing, of essentially building a funnel, a recruiting funnel through agent training and teaching to attract people to you through a newsletter, then to an event, then to a one-on-one meeting, and then to your offer to either join your team of brokerage. And Misty here. Misty, thank you so much. Took the course, and it's working.
Yes, it is. It's working great.
Good. I like to hear that. So we spent 6 months together. Every week for an hour. We met in a small group of about 8. And then she had a call once a week with someone here to kind of personalize what we talked about to her situation. And so Misty, let's just take it back here. So where were you at in your business when you decided that I should probably get my recruiting affairs in order, if you will? Tell me where you were at that point.
Well, I am both a team leader and a broker owner with team agents and independent agents. And I have always, in the 11 years of having my own business, I've never formally recruited. It's always been, people ask me every day, like, oh, I'm thinking about getting into real estate, or how do things work at your company? And so we've grown organically that way, but really without any system. And as a result, we've made a lot of choices in the past that have been based on, I guess this is my only option, so I better go for it and see if it works, rather than really who is the best candidate.
So my question to ask you here is, you start off with marketing for your real business, for your buyers and seller leads, and it usually starts off with like maybe a postcard that you send one time, or like let's do Zillow maybe for a month or two and see what happens. And it's like these one-off ad hoc shots of marketing, get some business, or maybe it stops and you start the marketing, it stops. And you've learned, there's no question, through how many homes are you going to sell this year in Des Moines?
Probably around 350.
So to sell 350 homes, you definitely have a consistent, sustainable day in, day out marketing system.
Yes, absolutely.
But 11 years ago, that was not in place.
No.
At all.
No, right? Not at all.
Yeah. So now you're just basically taking those same marketing systems and you're applying them to recruiting. So tell me some of the mental changes you had to go through to think of that in terms of more of a systematic, every single month, every single week, we do these things to make sure that we always have a talent pool there for us should someone leave, especially.
Yeah. Well, it was a big realization to say, gosh, I need to treat that part of the business the exact same way and with the exact same systematic approach that I treat acquiring clients to our business. And it made it, instead of being like a daunting task, just part of what we do. And so it just was a mind shift change to realize, wait a minute, I know how to market. I just need to market in this direction instead of just focusing on the client real estate side.
So there's no lack of people out there that can probably guide you with how to recruit agents in real estate. So what drew you to working with us and me here at Viral for this system that I put together?
Well, I think it was specifically because it wasn't just like going to a class one day and getting some information and then going on your way. Because it was over several months, and had a lesson plan with assignments every week,
Mm-hmm.
and then also someone to touch base with me and see how I was doing on my assignment every week and what I needed to get in place, it just breaks it down into little chunks so that you actually start implementing it, which is much, much more powerful than just going to a course or a class.
That's kind of how I tried to structure it. Did you get a copy of your workbook yet? At least
Mm-hmm.
materials?
Yes.
So as of right now, at least at this recording, I have 24 lessons over 24 weeks, and I have the tabs of all the lessons and everything
Mm-hmm.
that's covered. So I think what we did is we just met once a week in a small group of about 8, and I would address everyone in class on Zoom just like this, right? We would talk,
Mm-hmm.
and we would kind of lay down that small item to implement that week. And then tell me what would happen after that. Like maybe why don't you give the audience an overview of how the course is structured? That's kind of different than most things you see in the industry.
Well, you had different phases of when you are looking at people that aren't in the industry yet, how you
Mm-hmm.
go about getting those candidates and what kind of event you have for them and how you organize all that, how you prepare your event for agents that will help give them just information and a taste of how you do business to want to know more. And then also what kind of content you put out there to attract people. But I thought it was really helpful in a group setting to be able to see how the other people in our group did things. And because everyone comes up with a slightly different twist, and having that critique, and here's the things that are really great that I wouldn't have thought of versus here's the things that you might do a little differently. That whole group setting just gave so much more insight on different ways to do it.
Okay. So one of the things I share in the very first lesson, as I say, this is you've all enrolled in a personal development program to become a teacher and leader of agents as opposed to like a recruiting program.
Mm-hmm.
Could you maybe change some of the, what are some of the changes you went through, maybe even identity-wise, through the course to like really have to coach and train? So you know how we say like we have to recruit, but really throughout the course, it's more about teaching and training and leading agents and getting yourself on video and teaching, bringing them to an event to teach. It's all very educational, almost like you're starting your own coaching firm based. Can you give some contrast there? Maybe what you like people think of recruiting versus really what this course is almost starting your own coaching and training company?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's more of a long game, but more of a game that you're going to attract the right people. I've gone through other recruiting courses in the past that it talks about like how to target people and the scripts of what to say and how you pull out the things that they don't like where they're at and address how you would do things differently, and it's all a sell.
Mm-hmm.
And this is more like they've seen your stuff. They know how you think, they like you, they respect you, they understand what your philosophy is in business, so they come to you already being the right fit. The people that aren't a right fit are just naturally not going to be attracted to that.
So if you haven't watched this yet, the general structure of this, and I alluded to it before, is you essentially start publishing educational, helpful Q&A agent training business videos, as well as maybe interviewing some agents in your office about their success. And you have an outbound and an inbound strategy to get people to consume that content, usually through some outbound emailing to let people know about it and Facebook ads. And people consume that. And then when people watch this material that you put out that's helpful, educational, and so good people would be willing to pay for it, you invite them to come to one of your very standard, I recommend a 3-hour business planning clinic. Where you help in 3 hours, let's just very simply bring you clarity, because you probably have commission confusion, to what your kind of a business plan, what you should go do to sell some homes right now. And you leave that. From there, you offer a one-on-one meeting to help them review their business and talk about maybe personalizing the material that was in your event to them. And at the very end, if they bring it up or it makes sense, show them how this maybe a little bit less risk and easier and make more money in less time if they just work with you than having to go off and venture completely on their own. right? And that's
Mm-hmm.
the model, right? So through that model, a couple questions. What was the most challenging part of it? What was the most difficult lesson or section of that that you really struggled with, and why?
You know, I was really, I was nervous about holding the business planning workshops for agents and how I was going to put together 3 hours of content and would anyone show up. But, you know, it was one of those things that you kind of walked through. You know, these are things you do every day. The lead generation, lead conversion, listing presentation, buyer presentation, transaction coordination, and reviews and referral systems. It's like you do those things every day, just break it down. And once I did that, it's like, so I've had this business planning workshop 2 times now.
Mm-hmm.
We filled up both times. And I've had such amazing buzz from other agents, like approaching me, like when they show our properties or we have a closing with them saying, so-and-so told me about the business planning workshop and it was amazing.
It's
And I
awesome.
can't believe my company doesn't do this. And, you know, I told so-and-so that next time you have it, they need to go. So it actually became like the easiest and the most positive feel-good part of the system. And it was the part I was most daunted by.
You've been to a lot of seminars, you've been to a lot of trainings, a lot of workshops, no lack of those.
No.
When I advised you on maybe how to go about your business planning clinic or workshop, what made that unique as far as some other, the approach to it or the material, the structure, and some other things that you've seen?
Well, I mean, I think because it's all part of the system of just giving information and knowing that giving that information, the right people are going to be attracted to it, rather than setting it up as this big sell. I mean, that I think that's what's made it really unique. But you know, there's no lack of events that are available for real estate agents, and yet when you really break it down, like most agents don't go to them. And I've been amazed at in these workshops, like the things that I talk about that I take for granted, as these are things that everyone in my company knows it's part of our systems. It's like amazing these agents as stuff that insider knowledge they never had any idea existed. So I think I take for granted being really active in a world of going to a lot of real estate events, that's just the way all real estate agents do it. And it really showed me in my local market there's truly a need for, and I think it makes it more accessible to local agents when it's someone that they know is active in the market that really uses it here. It's not some national speaker at some national conference that maybe they don't get how they work.
Yeah. So the most challenging thing became the most beneficial thing. So you kind of answered my second question.
It's my favorite part now. Yeah.
That's great. But maybe let's say besides the clinic, is there one other piece of the whole system, of the whole lessons that you really enjoyed, besides maybe the workshop? Any lesson, any insight, anything that was said that really was like, man, that was really good. I really enjoyed that, or that really helped. Something that sticks out to you in your mind.
Well, I mean, I I'm a systems person. I I love creating the systems and the processes and being able to see it turn into something, and just had never applied that to this facet of my business. And so honestly, just the like actually taking the time to put these regular events, scheduling videos, scheduling interviews, putting that on the calendar, and then seeing it fall into place, seeing the results. I mean, that's just
You're just
that
blown
makes
away
it
by
all worth it.
it all coming together, because you were,
It worked.
as I
Yeah.
shared at the beginning, you were doing the kind of the general educational videos, sending them out, but it wasn't really producing like recruits, and there was a disconnect. And I think this course helped you jump that disconnect to getting.
Well, absolutely. And I'd already had that vision of wanting to have like a sharing knowledge part because I like working with agents that want to improve themselves. That's a big part of who we are here. And so, I already had that idea, but I just didn't have the process in place behind it, the systems.
Okay. So let's talk about just the hard results of this. We sent an email in the very beginning out to your list to see if there's any low-hanging fruit. We ran job board ads and brought those to like a kind of a career night, like a loose career night, if you will, people just looking for a job. Then once we kind of got that low-hanging fruit from your existing database and the online job boards, and we did a one-to-many strategy with a group meeting, then we started recruiting. We had to kind of lure someone away who's already kind of happy or successful where they are and bring them over. It's very different than hiring. And we started putting the event together. We started doing the coaching meetings. So can you maybe tell me about what results you've seen from all this? So you've gone through all this, you spent all this time, you spent this money. What have you gotten so far out of it, like tangibly, like people to help you?
I have hired 5 people in the past week, specifically from the things that I've done during this course.
In the past week?
Past week.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Both existing agents as well as people new to the business. And it's honestly like everyone in my office is like, oh my gosh, like these events you're having are really working. That first email we sent out that was just like to your existing database. I mean, I felt like how silly that I've never done this before, because my first career night event, I mean, it was all past clients that were there. And
so hold on. So let's put this in context. We emailed all your buyers. We emailed all your sellers. People you've worked with for 11 years saying that you're hiring and you have an opportunity in real estate. And a lot of people who did transactions with you showed up for a job.
Yeah. I mean,
that kind of blow your mind a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So the first event was all past clients. The second event was a mixture of past clients and people from job boards. The last event was people from job boards. But, once I had like, here's what I need for these events, here's the messages that we send out, here's the calls that I have an assistant make to make sure they come. I mean, now there's nothing to it. Like I literally, I prepare an hour before and make sure my presentation's up to date with like members of the team. It doesn't take anything to do now, and yet they've gotten more and more successful.
Because the events are very standardized. It's the same event over and over and over and over, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And we kind of have down the order, and I have agents from my team do a testimonial during it, like talk about what their experience has been, and we've just really kind of hit it, like what makes it successful. And then so it started out with that, and then use the same approach with the business planning workshops for existing agents as well. Just send out a message.
And you sold out the first 2. And you didn't really do, like, I cover a lot of kind of cool marketing stuff, like all this kind of Facebook ads, and we talk about like hiring people, like outbound emails. This was all just from like an email. I mean,
it was an email. Yeah.
So even if you were to even do those things, it'd be more, but just even the bare minimum of the marketing got the result you wanted.
Yeah. And really the second one was people that went to the first one that told people that they worked with, you need to go to it.
Misty, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how many people have you trained in your live events so far? All in, would you say shut up?
Oh my gosh. I mean, with both types, it's easily been 100.
So you've gotten in-person FaceTime with over 100 people from this. That's powerful. And you're positioned right as a speaker and trainer to guide them and help them.
Yeah, exactly.
Not like, please come work here, here's some leads.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. And it's the right type of people. And, there are people that go to the events that are like, I was curious and that fulfilled my curiosity and it's really not a fit for me. And that's wonderful.
Good. I know. You know the cost of that hire, don't you?
Exactly.
Good. All right. So one of the other things that we shared here, because you also kind of went through our business sponsor project, I was putting that through.
Yeah.
So took on a lot, right? We speak a little bit about companies like mine and Mortgage and Title and lots of other companies spend a lot of money to get in front of an audience of agents to sell them stuff, right?
Yeah.
We talked about maybe looking to zero cost some of the expenses it takes for recruiting. almost where you think of in terms of like your recruiting is, and again, it doesn't have to be this, but you can think of it in terms of like a separate training company, agent training company
Yeah.
that refers agents to your team, right? And that separate agent training company can certainly accept sponsor money from other people who want to get in front of agents. So we talked a little bit about that. Have you made any progress on that, or any insights on helping to raise some money to zero cost some of the capital outlays it takes to execute this?
Yeah, the vendors that I work with, they know how much reach that we have in what we do. And so it was very easy to let them know, we're going to take that same approach in this agent training video approach, and would like to see if you'd be interested in being a sponsor so that you're getting in front of all those agents and having that association, that positive association of being connected to a company that has a track record of success. So so it was easy to do that. And then the training or the business planning workshops, we have a mortgage professional that provides the space for us and
That's
caters
nice.
in lunch for us. And they just in exchange, they take 10 minutes when we're eating lunch to just kind of tell about what kind of programs they have. But that's worked great, because existing agents, they don't want to necessarily go to someone's brokerage that's not theirs. I mean, then it makes it feel like it's a recruiting event and maybe a little uncomfortable, but it's on neutral ground. I make a big point to talk about that it's agents from any company that's there, that every time we've had like 5 or 6 companies represented. And then the mortgage professional, and we also have an inspection company that participates with us, they're happy to have the opportunity to get in front of that audience.
And I say this in the course, if you were to go spend, say $40,000 to $60,000 a year on a recruiter, good luck getting anyone to help pay for their salary. Very difficult way of doing that.
Yeah.
But when you maybe take an approach for your recruiting through the publishing of content, a newsletter, you get advertisers, an event, right? You can provide access because you're in toll position, if you will, to those agents, and they want your recommendation.
Right.
To charge. People are happy to pay for it. This is how business works. Right?
Yeah.
And I think you could raise much of your expenses can be zero costed by finding 2 sponsors to each maybe pay 50% of the annual expenses to put this on.
Right.
So what else? Someone needs a consistent system for recruiting. Oh, I got my question for you. How did you know it was the right time to pull the trigger and actually do this with us? Like where you're at in your business, where you're at maybe personally, emotionally, like ready to pull the trigger to meet every single week for an hour with me with a lesson to implement this stuff and start doing workshops and publishing agent training videos. Like where were you at ready? Why were you ready to do that now? And why weren't you ready anytime 11 years ago?
Well, it's interesting because I had already started doing the agent training blog with Viral, but just was a little like, I don't really know the right way to go about this.
Yeah.
Well, and it was very early, but just wasn't quite sure what my strategy was going to be, just more of a kind of idea in my head. I did know that it was an important part of my 2018 strategy to hire talent. And, your reputation precedes you, Frank, in being innovative. And
that's the answer I'm looking for. Thank you.
Yes, this is all about, no, but it does. I mean, you're known for being great at new marketing ideas and taking those basic ideas and making it make sense. And I, instantly, as soon as I saw what the course was and how it was laid out, I'm like, this is exactly what we need. And it made it so that I did have someone that I had hired as a recruiter, but we had an opportunity to shift him into a different role that was going to create a different revenue stream for our business. And so honestly, like as this laid out, it was like, I don't need that role now because I can just let the systems take care of it. I mean, what you talked about was exactly right, that it's hard to have a person getting a salary be able to do that, and yet at the same time,
Yeah, when
it's
you're outlaying
yeah,
three, four,
exactly.
$5,000 a month on a salary, I mean, where are my recruits? It's that pressure's there all the
Right.
time.
Yeah, exactly. And then we were able to use that person that we thought was going to be an expense to hire agents actually to create more business for us through another avenue. So it worked
Yeah.
out perfectly. The timing was impeccable.
So selling 300 some homes a year.
Hmm.
How in the world did you pull off this course with us, with all the chaos that goes on with running an actual real estate team in the meantime? What tips
Well,
can you provide for someone in your same shoes?
well, I was committed to getting this done. This was something that I knew wasn't just I hope that I can do it. We are doing it. But really an hour a week and then a 20-minute call in addition to that, that
A
is
small
not too
assignment.
big of a commitment. And um, just that whole idea of breaking it down into small chunks so that you're able to get to a big result at the end. I think that is exactly what someone who is really busy needs.
So what they need is not necessarily what they want when they sign up. I've had people, can we get it all done in a week or two? I go, no,
No.
right?
Yeah.
You liked how I spaced out a period of 6 months.
Yeah. It actually
Beneficial.
worked out perfectly. Yeah.
Good. All right, Misty, what's next for you with this? So I've given you a pretty good toolkit and a solid framework to build on. You
Hmm.
hopefully have had put some vision behind maybe what you want to do with the training material and what that can evolve into. Where do you see this
Right.
heading over a year or 2 years with the number of recruits you want and what this might evolve into?
Yeah. I think there's a couple different things that's going to help evolve. It's definitely going to help grow my team with quality, right fit individuals making decisions based on being selective. And then it's also going to help grow the independent side of my brokerage as well. I love that I've mentioned how the business planning workshop has been such an enjoyable part of it. And I've loved that so much, and really even just the feedback from that. Um, I've I can see it turning into a lot of different types of workshops
Mm-hmm.
um, that are going to be used both to help people see the vision of my company and how we work, but then also just for coaching and training for agents. So there's so much that this starting system can help us evolve into.
Has this last question when you're all
Mhm.
done, Misty? Um, has this what have you gotten better at through this course? What have you improved self-wise?
Um, gosh, I have gotten better at placing as much importance in that kind of personnel side of the business, finding talent, putting that effort and systems that I already knew how to do in the finding and acquiring client side of it, just putting that effort there. Um, I I learned a lot about having it be a process where it's not just all like immediate and selling. It's more just having a steady flow of things be able to come your way and be able to turn it into something. So that's been super helpful for me.
That's great. So the course of doing this, you put 100 people face to face,
Yeah.
and you said you hired 5 people in the past week, but do you know how many total?
Yeah.
How many of you
There's
actually retain that you've hired up to this point, let's say?
So, there's been a couple people that
Aren't a
ended
fit.
up
Fine.
not being a fit, which
Mhm.
that happens. And, when you've got 20 great candidates you're working with versus 2 and the 2 aren't a fit,
Yeah.
it makes it so you can make smart decisions instead of holding on to things that aren't a fit. So,
So what have you
there's
netted
been
out with?
9.
9
Yeah.
net
So,
solid
and
hires.
then these, well, no, and then 7 total. So 9 total, and then 2 that haven't worked out, and then so that's great.
That is great.
And then we've got so many people in the pipeline. That's the other thing. I mean, we've got a couple people that are slated to be licensed at the end of August, and then other people that are further down. So I mean, it's the pipeline is here.
Because we talked about a CRM for hiring, and but they don't call it a CRM, it's called an applicant tracking system.
Right.
So we talked about that.
Yeah.
Question from an ROI standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
If one of your agents, one of these 7 net hires you said
Mm-hmm.
that you hire, these are all listing agents or buyers agents, people that are in production.
Yeah, they're all in production.
Yeah. If they actually do kind of the reasonable plan you have set up for them, what is it, 1 to 2 homes a month? What's kind of the goal here in 6 months, let's say, once they're going?
Yeah.
2
I mean,
homes a month?
for a new agent, to have around 6 sales in their first 6 months is great, and then they start rolling after that.
So what, in annual gross profit, what's one hire worth to you residually? Do you follow me?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, likely anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000.
So $40,000 to $60,000 times 7.
Yeah.
If we get them productive and you plug them into your systems, that's how you have to think in terms of ROI on this, right?
Right.
That's pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah, pretty significant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many people do you have on your team right now?
Gosh, we have like right around 20.
20 people. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
You have a sales manager? Or are you playing the sales manager role? Yeah.
I'm the sales manager right now, but that is definitely something that is on my list. Yeah.
Who's doing all the onboarding training for new agents? Because once you hire all these people, now you have a training problem. How are you handling that?
So we have someone that is, while this has been going on, this has given our new business development manager the opportunity to develop like the 100-day training program. And then we also have, and we had always used a mentor program for new agents in the past, but we actually were able to put a little more organized front end system in with me not having to be the one to worry about it. And then they go on and they train with a mentor after that.
All right. We're all done. Sorry, I asked you a few more questions in the last one. Misty,
That's okay.
Thank you very much for sharing this. This has been very helpful, and hopefully someone watching this, if you're thinking about stepping up and kind of deeming yourself as, hey, I might know what I'm talking about, maybe about how to sell real estate in the marketplace, and you put some content out there and you will always feel insecure about it when you start, but that insecurity goes away when you realize you start coming to your workshops, you start watching the videos that you don't think would be so good to start, right? And you really realize that, wow, I really do know a lot more. I think, what did we say in the course? Like, if you sell more than 9 homes a year, you're better than average.
Right.
9 homes, you sell 300.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching this. If you'd like to learn more about this course, it's kind of sold at Viral Marketing as an add-on to our core program. You can hire it standalone, but it's really kind of designed as an add-on. And we have the course twice a year. Right now, it's about 6 months long, is what it takes to be able to pull this off effectively with small chunks. If you're interested in that, reach out to us, and we'd love to talk to you about how we can hopefully get you some of the same results that Misty here has seen. So, Misty, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and I highly recommend anyone do this program. Totally worth it.
Thank you.